One day, out of nowhere, it started to rain acid rain. The acid levels in the rain were thousands of times higher than normal, and it was corrosive to everything it touched. Animals that came into contact with it would melt away, and the earth was dying. What could humans do to stop this disaster? Let's find out. Mia was born into a broken home. Her parents were divorced, but they still loved and cared for her. One day, while she was taking writing lessons, she overheard her classmates talking about her father. Not long ago, Mike had been involved in a riot, demanding justice for his co-workers. But when he was faced with an irresponsible and uncaring superior, Mike snapped and beat him up. Of course, this was all caught on video and posted online. The video quickly went viral, and Mia became the target of her classmates' jokes. Mia couldn't take it anymore, and she lashed out at her classmates with a hot branding iron. When the teacher finally arrived, she was forced to stop. After that, Mia was called to the principal's office and faced expulsion. When her mother, Anna, heard about it, she and her brother rushed to the school. After some negotiation, the principal gave Mia a warning. On the way home, she asked her mother if she could visit her father. Mike was under police surveillance after his fight, but he still cared deeply for his daughter. Just then, they were interrupted by a breaking news report. A few hours ago, a strange rain had fallen in several areas. The rain was thousands of times more acidic than normal, and the high acid concentration could burn skin, damage eyes, and even destroy the respiratory and digestive systems. The cause was global warming and high levels of pollutants in the atmosphere. People were warned not to go outside unless necessary, but Mike didn't care. He thought the government was just trying to scare people. It wasn't until the next morning that Mike realized that the rain was really different. When Anna saw that the acid rain was coming close to her daughter's school, she called her ex-husband in a panic. They immediately drove to the school to pick up Mia. But Mia was out riding horses in the forest. Just then, the huge black clouds rolled in, signaling that disaster was about to strike the city. The two of them quickly changed direction and headed to the forest to find their daughter, but the traffic was already jammed. With no other options, Mike turned off the road and decided to go into the forest to find his daughter. Just then, the acid rain started to fall. Mia had no choice but to run for her life. Luckily, Mike found his daughter just in time, and they made it to safety before the acid rain hit. Anna quickly drove up. Mike used a piece of cloth to cover up and hurried to get into the car with his daughter. Thanks to that, the three of them were successfully reunited. However, when they returned to the main road, they were stuck and couldn't move forward anymore. At this time, those outside who didn't have time to take cover were corroded by acid rain and ran around in a panic. Suddenly, a man ran from somewhere and opened the car door and rushed into it, causing Mia to be extremely frightened. Fortunately, Mike reacted quickly and kicked him out of the car. After this shock, Mia panicked, but fortunately Anna changed direction and arrived at a parking lot. At this time, the rain had temporarily subsided. Mike took the opportunity to use some clothes to wipe away the acid rain on the car, while Anna quickly called her brother to ask for help. According to his instructions, they had to quickly go to the shelter 300 kilometers away. Not having much time, the three of them immediately set off for it. After traveling for a while, they unexpectedly saw a supermarket, so they decided to go in to look for necessities. However, the tap water might also be contaminated by acid rain. Not wanting to risk their lives, Mike had a stray cat drink it first. But this action was unacceptable to Mia, who loved animals. Because they were very tired after running all day, they decided to rest here for a night. The next morning, the three of them continued on their way to the shelter. They blended into the large crowd, but unexpectedly, when they reached a bridge, they were all stopped by the police. Anna was accidentally pushed forward by the crowd, but Mike and his daughter were stuck behind. There was nothing they could do but for Anna to continue moving forward, regardless of her daughter's constant screams behind her. Seeing this, the police sprayed tear gas to subdue everyone. However, before they could go far, the bridge, corroded by acid, began to collapse. Seeing this, everyone on the bridge was frightened and turned to run away in panic. However, at that moment, Anna, who was at the back of the crowd, was stuck in the middle and couldn't move. In the end, she was pushed over the barrier and fell into the river below, the water of which was formed by the acid rain, causing Anna's body to be corroded before their eyes. Witnessing this heartbreaking scene, Mia could only scream in despair and helplessness. Mike could do nothing but comfort his daughter. After her mother's tragic death, Mia was extremely heartbroken. Because Mike's lover, who was being treated in the hospital, was also evacuated, he believed that the place was really safe, so he decided to change his route and try to persuade his daughter to go there with him. With no other choice, Mia had to listen. Afterwards, the two of them were escorted onto a truck by the military, but halfway there, they gave the excuse that the road ahead was blocked and asked everyone to get out and walk. Mike knew for sure that the military wanted them to turn back and reduce the number of people who needed to be rescued. Just then, more dark clouds rushed over. Seeing this, everyone hurriedly increased their pace, but Mia was too tired at this time, and fell behind. In no time, they lost track of the evacuation group. Just then, the acid rain also arrived. Luckily, in a moment of urgency, the father and daughter were able to find shelter in an abandoned basement, which saved their lives. When the sky cleared, they continued on their journey, but after hours of continuous travel without food, Mike collapsed from exhaustion. Mia panicked and screamed for help, thinking Mike would die in this desolate place. Fortunately, a kind woman living nearby saved him. After waking up, Mike gratefully promised to leave soon to avoid causing trouble. The woman said she would let them stay, but she couldn't share food or water because she had a son at home who needed dialysis, and they had to wait until he received a new kidney. With no other choice, Mike went out to search for food, but the woman remained wary of these strangers. That night, she cautiously locked the door and slept with her son on the second floor. Suddenly, a heavy acid rain began to fall, and while everyone was fast asleep, the acid ate away at every corner of the house, from the bathroom to the kitchen, releasing a pungent odor. Mike immediately woke up and grabbed a flashlight to investigate. Realizing the place was no longer safe, he called out to Mia and asked her to wake the woman and her son, but there was no response. Mike wanted to rush in and save them, but the door was locked too tightly for him to open it. Just then, the ceiling collapsed from the acid rain, breaking into pieces. With no other option, Mike put his daughter in the woman's car and left. Soon after, the car's recognition system detected that it wasn't the owner driving and stopped. In desperation, the father and daughter argued. Mia blamed her father for her mother's death and for leaving the woman and her son behind. Feeling frustrated and angry, Mike yelled at her, which prompted Mia to open the door and run away. When Mike regained his composure and returned to the car, his daughter was nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, Mia had stumbled upon several acid pools while running and had climbed onto a pile of rubble to shout for her father. At that moment, Mike was frantically searching for his daughter when he heard her cries in the distance. However, the car's wheels got stuck in a mud puddle, rendering it immobile. With no other choice, Mike got out and forced himself to walk through the acid pools to reach his daughter. Fortunately, he managed to reach Mia just in time before she succumbed to the acid. Despite the excruciating pain from the acid burns, Mike carried his daughter to safety, sacrificing his own legs. By the time they made it back to the car, Mike's legs had been completely corroded. Mia was very sorry. She didn't expect her stubbornness to cause her father so much pain. Helplessly, she screamed for help, just when they thought they were going to die here. Early the next morning, the rescue team found the two, and later Mike was also treated in time and his 2 legs were amputated. Fortunately, he survived, and Mia also apologized to her father for her recklessness. Because her mother is no longer alive, Mia can only live with her father from now on. As you can see, acid rain is one of the natural disasters that have happened and are happening. In reality, it has a bad impact on people and creatures. Therefore, everyone needs to raise awareness of environmental protection to build a clean, green, and sustainable future together. Well, that's it for today's movie. See you again.